Hi, welcome to the Career Cruise. My name is Violette Wambua. I'm your host today. The Career Cruise is a baby of Networking in Heels, which is a women's empowerment platform that helps them to unlock their best lives through the power of networking. In the networking events, we have people from different careers, which is businesses and jobs that they're employed in, different academic pursuits, and they get together for networking, for mentoring, for connections, for growth, for enjoyment as well. So there's a lot of interesting conversations that happen in those events, and the Career Cruise is an effort to bring those conversations here to a wider audience, a wider range of commentary, and a wider perspective as well. So yes, welcome to the Career Cruise. We talk about many things here, and today's topic is about emotional intelligence. Now, I'm not an EQ coach or EQ expert, but I have been a beneficiary of knowledge about emotional intelligence. Now, what is emotional intelligence? What is that? Let's break it down. So, emotional intelligence is the ability to identify and regulate one's emotions and understand the emotions of others. A high EQ helps you to build relationships, reduce stress within yourself and in the team, to diffuse conflict, and improve job satisfaction. So that's what emotional intelligence is about. Basically being able to figure out yourself, regulate yourself, figure out maybe other people and sort of regulate them for the benefit of the bigger picture or the benefits of whatever it is you're doing. And once you get over it, people can go and sambaratika or be scattered elsewhere. But for the sake of whatever is at hand, we all need some management and regulation, and that's where having a high EQ comes in. I'm just trying to think of scenarios where I have employed or exhibited high EQ and exhibited low EQ as well, because I don't. The Career Cruise is not a place for sitting on a high horse or showcasing perfectionism. It's a place for growth and sharing. And also you're invited to tell me the places where you have exemplified or shown high EQ or low EQ and what the results of that were. So I remember, so first of all, I'm a firstborn, and firstborns are trained directly or indirectly, sort of like always, hold themselves together, suppress their emotions, whether happy or sad, but mostly suppress the negative emotions. So then they can be able to, because firstborns are always supposed to get on with it, move on, get on with it. So because of that, we hardly, let me not speak about other firstborns, but for myself, I had to go to just be like, be angry or say what is down to say in the moment, just like that. Like there's a lot of you're measuring and looking around. You will express yourself, but not in immediacy that you wanted to, or the intensity that you wanted to. So whatever people get out of you is, even if they feel it's intense and it's heavy, trust you me, it's an iceberg. It's a tip of the iceberg. The real stuff is what you didn't even hear. Which is a good thing. I mean, firstborns spare people a lot, as much as say people will complain. But I know that in my work situations, this time I remember. So this is not necessarily a good story, but let me just share it. So I remember one time at work, there was a meeting that people have been invited for. I didn't get the invitation, whether it was by design or by human error, because again we're all prone to error. And so I didn't get the invitation, and so of course I didn't go for said meeting. And obviously it was a weekend, so I was just so happy to just be like, phew, at home. And then so come the next week, and of course I'm being called to order, like, hey, we have a meeting, it's very important that you show up. Why didn't you show up? Your inputs are important, and all that. And that's a right question. It's not a bad question. But obviously, I went into defense mode. Like, nobody invited me for the meeting. It's true. Had I heard about the meeting? Yes. But I was not taking the initiative to find out, do I need to be in that meeting? I did not take the initiative. And that also shows some low form of EQ over there. Like, maybe I should have just taken the initiative to ask, do I need to be there? But I didn't ask. I mean, I just had this meeting, but I moved on because I just looked at my email, I didn't see it, and I thought, that's what a logical person will do. If it's not appearing in your email, that means you're not needed. So, don't bother. So anyway, so when the question asking came, I felt like I was being attacked. And so I did not respond. I reacted and I said, hey, nobody invited me to this meeting, so I assume that I'm not needed. And of course, yeah, it's none of my business. It was not nice because then I'm talking to my senior this way. And then, of course, the person charged with the meeting invitation, of course, now they're also being put on the spot. And I'm like also, directing the heat I'm feeling within myself to them and saying, you didn't invite me for the meeting. Why are you blaming me for not coming? And it was a whole thing because now other people who are also present in the situation. So there's too many witnesses to that whole dramatic conversation, back and forth. Not even a conversation. Oh, gosh, let me not even sanitize. A whole dramatic back and forth. And looking back, that was cringe. What should I have done differently? Back, I'd have said, so there's a meeting happening and I've heard about it. So guys, am I needed to be in this meeting? Should I come? Do you need anything from me pertaining to this meeting? And they'd have said yes or no. Hopefully they'd have said no, so I still go on and have a guilt-free weekend. But yeah, so maybe they'd have said yes, and then I'd have known what to do. And then maybe I'd have said, hey, but I don't have the invite in my email, so maybe just send me the invite as well. So then we're all on the same page. I mean, that's what I would do now, or maybe I would have done then with the knowledge that I have now. So that is gone. At the meetings, it's the weekend has passed, and now we're back at work. And then I'm asked, hey, why didn't you come for the meeting? What should I have done better? I'd have said, there was a meeting, there was a meeting. And they say, yes, there was a meeting. Why didn't you come? And I've said, honestly, I didn't receive an invite. And of course, with more measured response, so then I'm not reacting and saying, but I didn't get an invite. No. Like, I actually didn't get an invite to the meeting. So obviously, because how this place works and you have systems in place, that if you get a notification, you act on it, it's an FYA, it's for your action or for your information. So none of that did come my way. But yes, this is a way to have responded that would have maybe, let me use a Bible verse that that has now just come to mind. A quiet answer drives wrath away or drives anger away. So that's for the Christians that are watching this episode. And I'm sure in many other teachings, there's a conversation about how to handle angry situations, sort of like quiet them down rather than flare up the situation more. So for me, I flared it up with my reaction. Maybe I'd have said, maybe I'd have managed my own tone. And I'm not talking about tone policing, but just manage yourself so then you come out of a situation with least damage possible. Because you see, now I added fuel to the situation and we were all having a back and forth that was not good. Even in hindsight, it was not good at all. And then in the end I was still the loser because, hey, I'm the junior and I didn't attend the meeting that was set by seniors. So obviously then now it comes to insubordination and all those big words that you don't want people associating you with. Yeah, so that happened, and looking back, could have handled it a bit better. I don't know about the intentions of the person setting the meeting to omit my name or my email. I don't want to go into that, and I don't want to judge them or get into their heads and say this is why they did the ABCD. I'm just going to talk about me managing myself, because I'm responsible for myself. So with better EQ, better emotional intelligence, I would have been able to, first of all, respond calmly and maybe just walk through the situation calmly and own the situation for myself and say, hey, maybe you needed me, so I didn't come. Is there anything that can be done after now that maybe that would help the outcomes that you're looking out for post fact or rather post event, So there's all these ways to sort of like pick up the pieces, even if you know very well you're not at fault, because I wouldn't have invited myself, guys, but hey, here we are. So another situation where I've seen high EQ working for me, this is very recent. So I recently called for an Uber, not for myself. This is digital taxi platforms. So I needed to get a ride for someone else to pick up the kids at school. And so this is many years later after that office situation. So now I'm older, more grown, have a bit more knowledge about EQ. So I'm happy about that. And so when I was giving the driver instructions on how to get, or other directions on how to get to my home, I misguided him and I misled him thoroughly. And so of course he was getting upset. And it's not his fault, it's actually my fault. So I realized quickly that, oh my God, I'm sending him in the opposite direction, and that's why he's not finding the location that I want him to be in. And so of course he's getting upset and he's yelling on the phone. Maybe he shouldn't yell, but hey, here we are, he's yelling. But I need him and I don't want to cancel the ride. So now I had to like literally just say, hey, I realize that I've been sending you in this direction and it's this other side. So why don't you just turn to this and say like, no, madam, my fuel, my time and energy, it's so hot outside here and my AC is not even working. So he's telling me all these things and I'm getting to understand why he's getting all heated up. And so I didn't give him the same energy he was giving me, because you see, the easier thing is to say, oh, it's your job to even follow the map, it's not my job to direct you, and blah, 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 and cancel it and all that. But you see, that would have gotten me nowhere, and my kids were getting late, like would have gotten late or be picked up much later than they should have been picked up anyways. So I was trying to salvage the situation, calm the driver down and, explain to him, okay, so here we are. Yes, you are right. Yes, I was wrong. And people like to hear that. People like to hear they were right. Yes, you are right. You are right. People really like to hear that. Myself included. Yeah, so of course I told him, hey, you are right. I realized I'm one I put my phone upside down. That's why my direction's reading the other way. And so we got to a consensus and we picked up the person that needed to be picked up the children that needed to be picked up. Everybody was back home in good time, so I know we had a bit of a delay, like 5 minutes, but that's neither here or there, as opposed to canceling, starting the process all over again with someone else. Yeah, so I felt like having a better EQ or a higher EQ salvaged that situation. And so he picked up the nanny, went with her to pick up the kids and drop them back home. And I didn't think much of it, because now I felt like, phew, sorted. But so when I met up with the nanny later when I got home, and she's like, hey, what were you telling the driver? He was so impressed with you. He said you're so kind. He was yelling and you didn't even yell back. He really was pushing you and telling you, giving him wrong directions, and you weren't upset. He was very impressed with you. What did you tell him? And I realized, oh my God, I really have changed. I really have grown over the last 7 years. So, not 7, but several years. So I was actually impressed at that. And I was like, okay, good. I like this review. This is a good product review, So I took it it was a big deal to me, because he did spend time telling her that, hey, the madam who sent me to pick you up, she was very kind. And there's room for us to actually have an argument and cancel the ride. But she saved the day because, she told me, hey, this and that. And she even apologized for misleading me, even though, I would have found the place myself and all that. So I was very happy about that. And I was like, okay, now I need to see this translating to me becoming a millionaire, But yes, so emotional intelligence is actually important. Just basically, the one thing I'd say is basically fostering good relationships with others and even fostering a good reputation for yourself. I think reputations are important. What you're known for is very important. So if you're not a calm person, people just know, when you're dealing with so-and-so, it's like, you're getting into sparks, It's like people are already coming to you with their shield up because anything can happen because of how eruptive you are known to be. And maybe you're only eruptive one time, but that's a reputation that has preceded you and goes before you. Everywhere you go, everybody's just like, oh, this person is just eruptive. And people are not looking forward to dealing with you. And that may or may not have changed, but it is what it is. It's on your record now. But yeah, let's talk about the benefits of, how having good EQ can help you, in terms of growing your career. So one of the first things that I'll talk about is self-awareness. For a lot of people, self-awareness is not in the chat group at all. Like, they have blocked self-awareness. If self-awareness was a person, they'd have blocked them and deleted them. If self-awareness was part of their, followers on social media, block, delete, all those things. So we need to invite self-awareness into our lives, and having proper EQ helps us to have self-awareness, because self-awareness is what makes you know, maybe I'm reacting like this because I'm hungry. Maybe I'm impatient because I'm thirsty. Maybe I'm doing this because I'm anxious. You're able to even just figure out your emotions in that moment and figure out why you're acting, reacting, or responding in certain ways. At an interview and you're waiting outside there, waiting for your turn to be called into the interview room, I don't think you're celebrating and singing songs yet. A lot of people are deep in their thoughts, deep in their, what is the game plan? How am I going to answer this question? All of us are anxious. And it's possible that if the next candidate, maybe who's also come to interview for the same job, is sitting next to you and they ask you for a pen, like, hey, can I borrow a pen? And you're like, no, you're about to say, no, it's my lucky pen. And I'm not going to share it. So because you're anxious, not because the pen is even your lucky pen or anything, but you start attaching so much importance to those scenarios, to anything in that scenario, because you're anxious and you're wondering what the interview is going to be like for you, what the process is going to be like for you, and all that. So yeah. So you're able to recognize, with self-awareness, you'll recognize your emotions, recognize if you're irritable, recognize what can trigger you, recognize what situations that you don't want to go into because they don't take you into a good direction, So when you're self-aware, you even become a better navigator of even relationships, interactions, situations, events, you're able to just time yourself. Even you're like, I need to put a stop so that if I'm here beyond a certain time, I know I won't be okay. I need to go home and rest, or I need to get out of this situation. Or let me put a stop at 4 o'clock and a hard stop at 4:30, because then after that I want to be, useful to this scenario. I need to remove myself, or if you're going into a scenario that is not good, then you go in armed with information like that. So then with self-awareness, your limitations, your strengths. It's basically you've done a whole SWOT on yourself, the strength, weakness, opportunities, and what is T for when you're doing a SWOT analysis and all the tricky parts. Yes, so that's what they will write for you, what the SWOT means for SWOT analysis at the bottom of the screen. So don't worry about that. With proper EQ, you're able to manage yourself. So self-awareness breeds. Self-awareness has a cousin called self-management. It's able to manage yourself. Self-awareness, I don't do long trips very well. Let me manage myself. I'll carry a bag just to breathe in and out of. So then I don't get sick in someone's car, or I'm able to manage myself in that sense. Self-awareness will make you manage yourself better. Maybe your hands get sweaty when you're meeting new people. So maybe don't go for handshakes. Ask them if you can give them a hug or a fist bump, something. So that way you don't have to give people your clammy hands to shake at the first time. And you know how important first impressions are. So such small things are what, just having a proper awareness leads into self-management. Self-management is better outcomes in terms of your business, in terms of your career. I know there's a lady who says, oh my God, because she's brilliant at what she does. I'll call her M. I don't say her name here. She might be listening. So Lady M, she's very brilliant. She knows what she's doing. And her emails come out so powerfully. And she's so, she's just amazing. So when she's going for meetings, she carries around a body, she carries around one of the big guys in the office. And they're the ones who now go and do the presentations. Because she just knows, I'm small, I'm tiny. The people I'm presenting to, they hear a big voice, like through the emails you can hear. The emails people write and you can hear voices, So she become a very powerful and like, hey, someone taking up all the space. So she gets one of the big guys in the office, hey, we're going for this meeting. So Charles will do the presentation, and then, she can help him field the questions and all that. But she knows that Charles is just literally a decoy. Okay, yes, he works for her, but he's not the one coming up with all the ideas. So she's self-aware that people will not take her very seriously. So instead of getting mad that people are not getting you seriously, go get money. So if it means carry Charles to the meetings, ni sawa. Carry Charles to the meetings, field questions, go home with a deal, go home with a tender. Yeah, make money. So that way she's able to manage herself. She can go and be angry at the world later, but then she's crying while wiping herself with money, notes called hard currency. Yeah. So when you're able to manage your impulses, your reactions, you're not just reacting to everything. Not everything is even getting your attention. You become a better manager of yourself because you have a good level of EQ. And you're able to just, figure out, yes, you will have negative scenarios coming up. I mean, negative scenarios come up literally every day, and there's nothing you can do about them. It's like birds flying in the air. But, if you're letting the bird land on your head, now that's where you have to take responsibility for that situation. So, yeah, when you have a good EQ, bad things will come and go, but you're able to just let them just pass. They don't have to be part of your life. Let them just pass. So embracing them and let them be part of your life now. And they create problems for you. That's not good self-management. Yeah, so you're able to manage your negative emotions, impulsive behavior, those intrusive thoughts. You don't have to come out of your head, guys. That's what proper EQ does for you. You're able to be aware that, I have crazy intrusive thoughts, and then manage. So you don't have to say everything that comes to your mind. You don't have to act on every thought that comes to your mind. And you don't have to say any offhand thing for the sake of saying. So you become a bit more calculated in terms of how you handle yourself, how you navigate the world, how you move around. That's proper self-management. And this self-management also leads to good results and good outcomes in terms of your career growth and advancement. Believe you me, most people who've grown high in terms of the career ladder, if you look at them, they have proper self-management, the proper self-awareness. Then, of course, we'll talk about motivation. What is motivation? People say motivational speaker, motivational books. Motivation, that's what it gives you, the spark and the fuel for continuing, or rather for trying to attain your goals. Motivation gives you the push to, take the action for different goals that you want to take to obtain. So, people say, I want to run the marathon this year, maybe run 2 marathons. So you're motivated. So what, the motivation is what pushes you to say, I'm going to do jogging every single day, different angles, different inclines, different altitudes. So then my body can take it and we're able to do 42 kilometers, for example, or 21 kilometers, whatever it is you want to sign up for, So when you have self-awareness, you're able to manage yourself better, and you keep your motivation going, for whatever goal it is you have. And so you know that, hey, I'm not able to run every single day on the outside, but can I find a gym somewhere so that I still be able to do the daily quota of running or daily quota of walking? Whatever it is you need to do. When you're motivated, you're able to manage those situations for yourself and achieve your goals. And that's what a proper EQ does for you. So that then you're not on the high of January, New Year's resolutions, and then 2 weeks later it's gone. No. Because you have proper EQ, you're able to say, I promise myself this year, this is what I'm going to achieve. Good. Then you're aware of yourself and your limitations and say, I tend to oversleep. So what? Set an alarm and set reminders also. So then it stays ingrained in your head. And then manage yourself. The alarms are now for managing yourself and then keeping the motivation going, because then you have things to do. Same also with managing friendships. You say, hey, I need to put a reminder for so-and-so's birthday. Let me send them a message. And that way you're pouring into your relationships, you're sowing into those friendships at will. It's a good benefit, it's a good emotional profit for you once you're able to see yourself doing things and seeing them through. Not just to start as we all start, but keeping the motivation to see them through to the end, or through to good outcomes for yourself and other people. Of course, good EQ gives us undoubtedly better empathy for others, better understanding of situations, better understanding of people's feelings and their perspectives. Not necessarily to agree, but just understand. Just understand where they're coming from. You don't have to agree with them, by the way. Nobody said it's not a choir. We don't have to agree with each other, but understanding each other gives us better room to acknowledge one another's opinions, tolerate them, maybe give them room to flourish if it's possible, or if it's for the best. And that definitely also helps us to carry favor with them, because today you're not agreeing with your opponent or the person in your team. Tomorrow they'll not be agreeing with you, and you want that space also. Some of these things become sort of like reciprocal. It breeds, rather it fosters some form of reciprocity, because I understand, and others then they'll be more willing to understand me when it's my time, when I need to be understood. Because it's not every day I have opinions that people quickly agree with. Sometimes I'll hold some unpopular opinions, but because I normally give people room to hear them out, then there's somehow a tendency for people to give you room also when you're the one carrying the unfavorable opinion of the day, or rather unpopular opinion of the day. So just keep the points in mind. So number one, yourself with the proper EQ, or the proper emotional intelligence. Remember, you'll find yourself being more self-aware. So it promotes self-awareness, promotes better self-management. Now that you're aware of yourself, promotes a sense of motivation. And then now we are at the point of empathy for others, older, younger, senior, junior, at the same level. Empathy is what really, for me, I feel like moves the world around. Because with empathy, you're able to say, okay, I know so and so is unwell, they're not able to come for this thing, maybe I can stand in for them. You find yourself even helping others because you're now more empathetic to them, because you realize that, hey, we all need each other. But without empathy, it's man society, and that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. Maybe it is, but for a short time, but it's not sustainable for the long term. And we all need each other, and none of us have the same strengths as each other, and none of us bring the same things to that proverbial table as each other. So we're all important for and to each other in different ways. So it can never be like for like, but we all need to know that we contribute. All of us are important to the larger equation of life. So empathy is what makes us make room for others, and empathy is what makes others to make room for you. Because not all of us were born here at a senior level. No. We all came up. So when you're coming up, somebody made space for you, and you also need to make space for someone else on their come up as well. And empathy helps you to do that. And empathy is a child of EQ, emotional intelligence. Something else that I know for sure is literally a child of proper EQ is relationship management. You need to manage the relationships around you. Manage your relationships with your parents, your neighbors, your siblings, your workmates, your customers, your suppliers, even the people in traffic. You need to manage these relationships, even with your religious leaders. And so with proper EQ, you're able to just say, okay, I know I demand this space and I know it is mine, but maybe for today, I don't have to take it all. And then I'm not saying you suppress your needs. I'm not saying you get into the habits of giving others your room where you need to be taking up that space. No. No one is telling you to suppress your feelings, suppress your perspectives or your emotions or opinions. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that some days you can give a bit of room for others, just a little bit. Not take yourself out of the conversation, no. But just give a little bit for others, so then they can also be heard, can also participate. Because then if you're constantly pushing for your way only, you're not able to manage these relationships, and then it will not work for you. So what you do with proper EQ, you're able to say, okay, fine, I'll give you leeway here. This is sorted out. Again, you have a big picture in your mind for what you want to achieve. So these relationships you're managing in your life are building towards, or rather contributing towards, the bigger picture? Are you able to forgive that big word? Are you able to say, fine, I'll help you? Like collaborations, that's also a part of managing a relationship. So you forgive others, collaborate with others. You're able to help, not just collaborate, but just to help. Like this one, you're helping. There's nothing you're getting out of it. You're helping. Are you able to do that? Are you able to sow seeds of kindness? Are you able to, be reliable and be a person they can come to and share, and it stays between the two of you? As long as it's nothing illegal, come on, or nothing that is sabotaging the business or your job, things like that. Are you a better team player? Are you a good team player? Because that's also part of managing relationships. Sometimes you get a client who's very difficult, as it will happen in life, as it does happen at other times. And then, how are you able to manage that? Are you also pushing as they're pushing? Are you pushing as they're pushing? So there's a way to reach consensus. And that's all part of relationship management that is born out of having a good level of EQ. So I'm encouraging you guys to, do bits of anger management here and there. We're really stressed. So anger is the first thing we all go to. So manage your relationships better with a proper EQ. Handle things better, know what you're reacting to, what you're responding to, and even you're able to find that the timing is also important. Something will come to you and you're like, this one we will deal with next week. And when next week comes, you find that your mood is even different, your thought towards a thing is even different, and how you handle it is very different from how you'd have handled it now, in the moment. What I learned recently is part of relationship management. Some relationships can be very terrible, and it's not your fault. It's not even the other person's fault. It's just that maybe your energies weren't good in that time for the moment. And it's easy to just say, I'm cutting off this person. I'm, dropping this client. I'm so there's all these finalities that we like to apply, because I feel like we live in a choleric environment, or rather choleric society. So it's always like, these things are happening. What are you doing about it? Cut it off, delete, block, whatever. So how about just leaving things a bit, they say, don't cut what you can untie. So we can just untie these relationships. Just untie and leave them neatly. We might come back to them, or we might never come back to them, but it doesn't have to be beef. Not everything has to be beef, So relationship management makes you know that, hey, maybe that person is not even good for me. Maybe I'm not good for them. Maybe I'm the problem. So how about I just backtrack, just do a quick reverse and do it in a way that everybody's, no one is hurt, or rather there's as least damage as possible, because it is what it is. It's only trees that don't meet, and only hills and mountains that don't meet. You never know where you'll meet this person, and they may or may not threaten your survival in that moment, but it's good to have a friendly face. It's good to have goodwill everywhere you go. So that's what I'm going to say. So I'm not asking you to minimize or even reduce your needs, or minimize your opinions, minimize your voice, no, or even police you in terms of your tone. But what I'm just saying, that whatever you're doing, if you have proper EQ, you realize that not every person needs to be shouted at. No, not every person needs to be written to that task email, or that task message, or that that hectic response. It doesn't have to be all the time. You can go through tough situations without necessarily being the tough one, So maybe you can be like water. Water is enviable. Water can be solid. Water can be air, it's a gas. Water can be, just a liquid. And water can be, hot, cold, whatever. It's different forms, as different forms as possible. And water can even eat through rocks. Like, water can cut a rock. Like, I think we all should aspire to be like water. And I think it's amazing. It's an amazing pointer towards proper EQ, So if water is coming into a hot situation, it heats up and becomes gas. Vaporizes, and if water comes into a cold situation, it's okay. It becomes ice. And it's a proper solid, and it matches the situation. So just with proper EQ, you'll find out what to do. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, I'm not an expert on EQ. I'm not a teacher on EQ, but I've learned some things along the way that could help you and could help all of us improve, because we're on a journey of improving ourselves. And we realize that when we improve ourselves, we show up better at home, show up better at work, show up better for our clients, show up better for, our team members, we show up better in society in general. And that's what we're trying to do here at Career Cruise. That whatever we learn is not just for our jobs and our businesses only. No. It will show up. We have to show up better in every scenario that we're in. Something else I'd say about, as a final thought on emotional intelligence, our brains are wonderful machines. There's nothing that you cannot learn. It might come with a bit of difficulty, but there's nothing that a human being cannot learn. That's how, we say, expansive or elastic our brains are. Like, we're able to take in so much information. I think the word is plasticity. So we're able to take in so much information, and we don't have to take it all at a go. No. Maybe just decide, hey, I'm going to listen to a few podcasts on emotional intelligence. They don't have to be long episodes, even like 10, 15 episodes, and give yourself maybe then 3 times a week, daily if you want, that's okay. But you find yourself, you're learning a lot and you're able to apply the lot in your life. So you'll approach school differently. You'll approach your home life differently. You'll approach your colleagues, your classmates differently. You'll approach your neighbors differently. You'll approach situations differently when they come along. And then you find yourself, a better reader of emotions, a better master of scenarios and situations. And not just to your favor, but also just to the favor of the collective. Because you see, if all of us are angry, if all of us are not quick-witted and thinking quickly on our feet, if we're on a ship, that ship is wrecked. If we're driving, the car is wrecked, But if all of us are able to just, figure out things quickly, or, if one or more of us are in better control of the emotions and better control of, how we react or how we respond, then you find that even the collective benefits. And that's the thing with gaining these skills. It's not just for your own benefit, but also the benefit of the collective. And that's all I have today on emotional intelligence in terms of career success. I hope to see you again on another episode of Career Cruise. And I hope you'll have learned a thing or two that you can also share with me. Feel free to write in. I need to hear from you. I enjoy reading your comments and your emails and just getting your perspectives. Thank you so much for sitting with me through this time. See you next time on the Career Cruise.